Hey guys, I have another Cloudhammer sword for you, and this one is definitely a beauty. Okay guys, today happens to be Veterans Day, or at least the time of this airing of this video happens to be Veterans Day. If you have watched any of my videos, or if you've been a subscriber for a long time, or if this is your first time coming into my channel, welcome first and foremost. Thanks for your support. I try my best to show support for our veterans. I have great respect, love, and admiration for our veterans out there, especially for the fact of veteran suicide. It used to be 22 a day. I think the number has gotten lower, but we definitely want to get that number down to 0. So growing awareness for that. But besides that, it is Veterans Day. Let's celebrate today. Let's celebrate our veterans. And let's not wait until Veterans Day to, you know what, see a local neighbor that you know was served. Show them that you appreciate them. Show them that you care. Show them that they're welcome. And veterans, you are always welcome on this channel. I welcome all veterans to my channel at all times. Love and respect to all of you. Happy Veterans Day. Let's celebrate our veterans today and every day. Okay guys, this is Joe from SFIF. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in to check out one of my other Cloudhammer swords that was given to me as a sample for a review from John at RVA Katana. And John, thank you as always for entrusting me with your swords and to get your reviews of your swords out there. Okay guys, this is probably about the fourth fifth sword that I looked at from Cloudhammer and I made up reviews for. The constant with these swords, guys, is the fact that they are really good quality. They are great quality for the price. There's so many perks that go into making these swords. And the most important factor of this, these reviews like this one of Cloudhammer Steelworks that go out there, the owners watch these reviews. The correspondent, John RVA, is a correspondent to them in the States. He watches these reviews. He reports back to the owners and they make changes, okay? And they make improvements in accordance to what we find on these reviews. And that's a very important factor for a fairly new company kind of trying to get their footing in the production market to give you a sword that is they're constantly improving the quality of and trying to give you the best bang for the buck for the prices that these are in. These prices are pretty much a range of like 300 to about 800 or so. I think they do have higher price swords with an expert polish on them, which I'll discuss later on, but they're a fairly reasonable price point and you really get a lot of bang for your buck from Cloudhammer Steelworks, which I'll show you all the details of the sword. We'll break everything down for you. I'll show you some great imagery and later on in this video. Before I even get into that, guys, great fit and finish on this. Not perfect. There's definitely room for improvement, which I'll get to. Little bit of sword rattle in this one, whereas a couple of other ones had really good fit and had barely any sword rattle whatsoever. Now, is sword rattle a bad thing? Not necessarily. It has great friction, doesn't fall out, very easy to come in and out. If you're looking to do Yaido with this or Noto, it's definitely a very easy sword to kind of unsheath, okay, and sheath back in again. It's got a great fit and finish. So the sword rattle is more of something, if you're a samurai back in the day and you wanted to sneak up on someone and you had some sword rattle as you're moving around, that would be a problem. The sword rattle problem today, not really. Would I want to have a better fit and finish and not have any sword rattle? Yes. This is not really excessive sword rattle. I've seen a lot worse, but I would challenge Cloudhammer to basically produce their size to their blades so they have very minimal sword rattle, because that is definitely, you know, the better way to go for someone who's looking to get a quality made sword. Okay, this happens to be a SX105v Japanese tool steel. This is pretty big for me because this is the first differentially hardened sword blade that I got from Cloudhammer Steelworks. Most of them have been spring steels through hardened blades, but this is the first differentially hardened blade with a real beautiful hamon, which we'll get into all of that in the details. And I'm really happy what I see with the polishing work that they do is pretty damn well done. Is it perfect? No, but it is pretty damn good. I'm very impressed with the polishing work on this blade. Now, I did do some simple cutting with this blade just to kind of out of the box type of thing, how the sharpness level is, how the edge geometry is in terms of the cutting, which all the Cloudhammer swords I've had have been great cutters and had great edge geometry to promote very good slices on your targets. The first thing I tried to cut was a empty water bottle. Now, the empty water bottle cuts is more just to test the sharpness level of the blade itself out of the box. Dry water bottle cuts, especially if it's a harder plastic cuts, you need to have a very keen, sharp edge. Also have very good edge alignment when you approach the bottle, because instead of, because it needs to be sharp enough where it's going to slice it before obviously the impact is going to push it away from you and not do the slice. So I have had very good success with some of their other blades in terms of the sharpness levels to be able to cut through the air-filled bottles. But with this one, it kind of just pushed it to the side. I saw my edge alignment was good, but it kind of pushed it to the side. It didn't really do a fine cut. And I can feel it that it is sharp. It's a great, cutting sword. It's a cutting sword. It's sharp enough, but it's not that level of sharpness to be able to do that particular cut. Now, does that make it a bad sword or means it can't cut? Absolutely not. That's just one particular demonstration. We won't call it a test. Demonstration to how sharp it is. And just to be noted, I have cut with other Cloudhammer swords where the sharpness level was very good and it was able to get through the air-filled bottles very cleanly before knocking it out of the way. So my challenge to Cloudhammer is to make sure that all of your edge profiles or your edge sharpness is constant on all the swords you deliver, so at least people, the customer can know the sharpness level that they would look to expect on certain swords. Now, I know it may differ from sword to sword, but this being a differentially hardened sword, I would say it should be able to take a very sharp edge and still have enough thickness on the blade in order to stand through the cuts and have some bend and some play without breaking. Then I went out, I did some simple pumpkin cuts, some leftover pumpkins. I just wanted to get through some pumpkin cuts. It sliced through them very well. I actually even hit right into the wooden stump, trying to push it a little further, honestly, just to see how good the edge physically holds up to a higher impact onto wood, and it did pretty well. I didn't see any breaks or cracks or anything like that, no bends, it wasn't a very hard cut, but just to be noted, I did hit into the wood stump and it cut the pumpkin very well, nice good slice. And of course, I cut into a water-filled water bottle, and that did very well, and again, I hit right into the stump and there was no damage to the edge, and again, this is just to be noted, demonstration-wise, not a huge test, but it did slam into the wood stump, and there is no apparent damage onto the edge of the blade or the ha. And guys, it's got really, really good balance. One thing that's constant, pretty much with all the swords from Cloudhammer Steelworks, they do have great balance. They're not the lightest and nimblest swords you can buy. They do have nimble swords, but there is enough beef on the blade to be able to be a good cutter, but also continue to have very good balance and very good control of the actual tip, and that has been a constant with all of the Cloudhammer swords that I have reviewed, regardless of the steel or whatever it is. They have a good formula as far as giving you a very good balanced sword, and this is definitely not an exception. It's a very good balanced sword, very easy to control, very easy to start and stop, and very easy to kind of direct the cut to where you want it to go. So now, guys, sit with me now. I'm going to narrate the rest of it. We're going to go through some beautiful details, beautiful imagery of such a beautiful sword, and go through all of the tsukamaki, the saya, and go through all the parts of the sword to let you know what kind of job they did to this particular sword I have here from Cloudhammer Steelworks. Well, thank you, Joe, for that fine introduction. So this is another Cloudhammer Steelworks Katana, very attractive looking sword. What I like about their swords is the fact that color scheme, everything matches. The saya, the colors of the fittings, everything kind of matches a really nice color scheme. There's no oddballs or anything like that on it. Everything matches really well. Starting with the fitting of the Kashira, this is has been a problem with their fittings, not fitting the ska perfectly. You see on one side there's a good transition. On the other side, you can kind of get your fingernail in there. Does it hurt your palm or anything like that when using it? No, but that's just to be noted. They need to get their fittings fit on the ska a little bit better. But the Ito is great. You can see there's no movement on the Ito, usual tightness on the Ito. The diamonds are all fairly even, and I feel like the diamond work and the Tsukamaki is getting better with every sword that I review from them. Really good quality Samigawa. I love the black Samigawa on this particular ska, but you see the diamonds are all very even. Is it perfect? No, but listen, for the price that these swords are, the diamonds are lining up very well. Good quality Samigawa, excellent quality leather jacket type of finish on the Ito, and really tight Ito wrap. I've been a really big fan of the quality of their fittings on every Cloudhammer sword that I reviewed. They're different. They're not muddy as you see on other castings. They do have a very good high quality casting method that they use to make up their molds. You can see as you get close on these angles, you can see the details in the casting of this Kashira, while also being really tight, no movement. They added some epoxy on it now, so it's very tight. The knots are tight, and overall it looks great. It fits the whole motif of this particular sword with all the pieces. I really like what they're doing with their castings. Very high quality compared to other production swords on the market. I believe these are all solid brass fittings, but you can see the ska ring or the fuchi. The transitions are actually very good. You can see it matches up, big improvement over the last sword that I reviewed. The fuchi ring really does line up with the Ito pretty well, and again fits the motif and the quality of the molding, the whole look of the seppas being also that brass color. It matches really well with the Tsuba. This Tsuba was modeled after Miyamoto Musashi. Now, if you don't know who he is, you need to actually research him. He was a very famous Japanese swordsman, philosopher, strategist. He became renowned through stories of his unique double-bladed swordsmanship and undefeated record in his 61 duels. This particular Tsuba is modeled after one of his swords in history. It's a solid brass Tsuba. I think his Tsuba was more of a black color, but this is more of a brass gold. Very good looking execution on this. Love the lines and the comfort in the hand, no sharp edges. Really good sculpting method that they did to kind of make up the Tsuba, modeled after Musashi Tsuba. I really love the look of it, love the feel of it, love the solidity of it being solid brass. It just all around, I love seeing this sword with this particular Tsuba on it. Very popular in Japanese culture. Very visible, bullhorn over the Koiguchi mount, bullhorn, korigata, really nice Sageo rope, good quality. And here is the saya, or the scabbard. It's beautifully painted, red and black saya, with the bird on branches there, which I'll get to, but the actual saya, it's not original. I've seen it on a popular Swords of Northshire sword. There's also some bullhorn and the Korjiri there at the end of the saya. Very well executed there as well. But a beautifully executed painted saya, not original. Like I said, it was on a Swords of Northshire sword that I currently own. Not that original. I challenge Cloudhammer to kind of come out with some sayas that are not prominent in production, something different. But for argument's sake, this is a very beautifully painted saya. Very nice execution, smooth lines. I love the varnish work and everything that they did. Again, you're looking at the Sageo rope there. Pretty good quality Sageo rope, which is pretty constant on all their swords as well. This is something that's a little weird. You notice it's a bird on branches there. Again, same design as the Swords of Northshire sword. But you notice how it's upside down? This is the presentation side of the sword where it sits in your obi belt right side up. And I think the bird should have been reversed. It looks upside down to me. It looks like the branch and the bird should have been the opposite way and the bird standing up. But I guess if they're going to continue making this is wrong. I think it should be the other way around. The presentation side, the bird should be facing up on the branch, at least the way I see it here. But again, great looking saya, great execution, good lines, good varnish work. Not original, But for what it is actually a beautifully made saya for the sword and matches, again, the motif perfectly. The koiguchi, or the mount of the saya, pretty nice shape. It's actually a little bit better than the last one I received. You see a little bit, some cracks, minor cracks around the shaping, but again, the habaki fits very well in there. The wood seems to be new, clean. Bull horn is very prominent around. Nice thick piece of bull horn to protect the hands. Good execution on the koiguchi. This is the highlight of this sword for me. The fact that it is my first differentially hardened sword from Cloudhammer. It has a beautiful hamon. It's a Suguha hamon. It's a very basic hamon, but it also promotes for less breakage or bending of the blade. It's a generalized hamon that I think is probably the most robust from what I've heard in terms of keeping the sword strong, the edge strong and all that, and having some bending properties without breaking. But excellent polish. You see the three-tone polishing work on this blade. Very robust, good cutting blade, very good looking in terms of aesthetics. The lines are fairly well done. Their polishing work is good, guys. Their polishing work is pretty much among the best on this production market. They do a really good job with it. Very happy with what I'm seeing with their polishing work on their German steel, spring steel blades. That mirror polish is excellent. And this being a differentially hardened with that beautiful hamon line. Nice Boshi line there, nice line of the Yokote line there. The Boshi look is very well done. Nice robust Q Kasaki there. It's very good. I really like the polishing work on this sword. It's pretty well done. And from what I understand, they do have some very high price or higher quality type of polishes that John is willing to send to me, which I don't think he wants cutting done with them, but just to show off the aesthetics of what you can get in terms of the polishing ability that Cloudhammer has. But this being, I think, in the $400 range, $450, $500 range, I think it's a pretty nice execution on the polishing work of this differentially hardened blade with this excellent hamon line, nice Boshi line, and nice Yokote line. Just a little word on the habaki. It's a pretty standard brass habaki, pretty well fitted, not perfect fitted. You notice how on all the Cloudhammer swords that I reviewed, you also have that little fingernail of space there. It's not perfectly fitted around the blade, which I would like to see it kind of fitted a little bit tighter. I know that's a little bit extra work. You do find that on very high quality swords, but it does fit well. There's no movement, there's no jiggle or rattle or anything like that. It fits into the koiguchi very well. There are some markings on the brass that you can see them a little prominent there. I kind of used a brass cleaner to kind of clean them, but there is some markings on the brass habaki that if I was a customer, I would probably complain about something like that. So they have to really keep an eye on that to make sure that the habakis are in clean shape, that there's no markings or blackened parts or anything like that on there that might be too apparent, and maybe try to see if they can kind of fit the habaki a little bit tighter. Now, the reason why that's important is because you could also block the water, any water from coming down into the habaki, into the tang, that can cause some rusting in the cargo. So other than that, aesthetically, I'd rather have it a little bit tighter, but again, it looks pretty good. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for sticking around to the end. So basically, just to sum it up, another great sword from Cloudhammer Steelworks. I mean, what can I say? They really, they do a great job with their Sukamaki. Not perfect. There is room for improvement, but for the most part, you can be guaranteed great handle wrap, a beautiful leather jacket type of genuine leather that they use. It's pretty much constant on all the swords that I reviewed for them so far, and they're very tight, very, very comfortable in the hand. It's a pleasure to hold them. I would appreciate maybe a thinner profile on the Suka, but for the most part, it does fit very well in the hand, and it's very easily manageable and comfortable in the hand. And the size is actually perfect. It's at around 11 inches or sub 11 inches, which is pretty much a sweet spot for me. The fittings are great. I love this Musashi Tsuba. I love the casting quality of their pieces is very good. It's a little bit better than the normal production castings that you see. They do have a better casting method in order to give you some good castings without making it look overly muddy, and they're pretty unique. You don't really see these very often on too many swords. The fit and finish is great. Koiguchi, the habaki, everything fits pretty well. always, pushing companies to improve and make them better. But for the most part, guys, this is a very attractive sword, aesthetically attractive sword, really good steel, beautiful polish with the hamon, very well balanced, very good in the hands, a perfectly balanced sword for the most part in terms of being able to have the sword do what you want it to do, stop when you want it to stop, and change directions when you want it to change directions. So very good job from Cloudhammer Steelworks. If you guys are interested in their swords, reach out to RVA Katana on Facebook or online. I believe it's rvakatana.com. You could reach out to John, great guy. You can talk to him. He can give you some options for Cloudhammer Steelworks, or go to cloudhammersteelworks.com and you can check out their inventory. And from what I understand, there is room for customizations for the swords. So if you wanted to kind of move things around or select certain steels with certain types of fittings and size dimensions and all that, there is options for you to do so. So I still recommend Cloudhammer Steelworks, not like I haven't before, but I see that they have great products. I'm very happy and content with sword after sword that they send me. Always room for improvement, which I know they will do with these reviews, and I try to note that on all the reviews that come in. I let you know what they're doing good and what they need to improve on, and I know the owners are listening and they are making changes. So that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for sticking around for another Cloudhammer Steelworks review. I have another one coming up from Cloudhammer. It's this guy, another really nice, attractive sword. I believe it's a German spring steel sword. Equally really good polish, has its own perks with this sword because it's a zero grind blade with sort of like a convex edge. So I'm very excited to show you this. But I do plan on cutting more with this sword though, guys. I am going to be cutting some tatami mat sessions just to show you how it cuts tatami. I am pretty convinced it will handle tatami very well. And just to give you a complete roundabout review on this sword and how it handles normal materials and how it handles tatami mats, which a lot of us out there would really, like to have swords that can handle tatami mats well. Thanks for joining me, guys. This is Joe from Steel Forge and Fire Sword Knife. Much love and respect to you guys, and much love and respect to our veterans today on Veterans Day and every day. Have a good one, guys. Peace and love to you all. Ciao.